Hey everyone, and welcome to this month's masterclass, which is the 8 elements of our life journey part 2. So just going to recap back over. So we're working on the sailboat metaphor. And there was the quote of, "I'm not afraid of the storm, for I am learning how to sail the ship." This is meaning that we are not afraid of what's going to come in life because we're learning as we go through. And the goal of this was to help us realize that we are the captain of our own ship and to act accordingly. The realization that you are the only one who can change your own behaviors. This reality allows you to behave in line with your personal values and take responsibility for your own actions. And the key steps of this progress is to develop a balanced and complete perspective of oneself, to consider all the factors of our daily behaviours and experience, both positive and negative, the things we can control and uncontrollable. By becoming aware of our strengths and our weaknesses, of the factors that can be controlled and those beyond our control, and of a positive and negative social force, we can navigate our way through life with ease. So we talked over all the elements and what they all meant. So this week, or this month, sorry, we are going to actually look at us and our lives and break it down so we can start building resilience and coping with life's ups and downs. So you're going to put you in the middle on the boat. As you see, got my beautiful face in there. So we really are looking at us, because we have the elements that are outside of our control, outside of us. So 7, 8, and 1, and then the rest are all our inner strengths, weaknesses, goals, values, and our emotions. So you have also with this, there is a PDF file worksheet you can download if you want to fill that out, or you can just get your pad and pen and write down the questions as we go through. And at any point as we go through this video and you're thinking about writing the answers, just pause the video or listen to the whole video and then go back to the sheet. Do what works for you. But I'm going to go through each section and the questions. And then at the end, I'm going to then do like a whole summary of it all with it and how, now we've broken it down, how we can work with that. Because what I want you to do, I don't want to go over the first bit, the last bit at the beginning, sorry, because I want you to really answer the questions truly. Because if we're knowing what the outcome's meant to be, we start writing down what we think we should write. If we're not honest when we do these type of things, we don't actually move forward. So you need to be as honest as you can with yourself at the moment. So number 1 was water, and this is reality in our environment. So I want you to describe that. What is good about your environment and your reality? I also want you to take a look at what don't you like about it? And then you're going to look at what you need to change. Then we're going to go on to number 2. And this is the steering wheel, which is our needs, values, and meaningful direction. So I want you to write down, what are your needs? What are your values and meaningful directions? If you haven't thought about this before, take some time to think about your beliefs, values, and directions. It doesn't matter how long that takes. You can stop doing this and think about it for a couple of days if you really want to find out what your true values are. And I also want you to stop and think about what sort of person you want to be. Because when we have this, we then know what our values are and we know which direction we want to go in. So number 3 is destination, which is our goals and wishes. So in this section, I want you to think about, where do you want to end up? Sometimes people look at that as a year plan, a 5-year plan, we've all heard that, or just where do you want to end up generally? It can be, within the next couple of months. It doesn't have to be huge when you're doing these things, but as long as you know where you're focusing. But if you have an end result and a bigger dream, what is your dream or dreams? We'll add more than one. What are your goals to get to where you want to go? Because having clear goals helps us achieve our destination. And number 4 is the leaks. This is our weakness and ineffective coping. So what are your weaknesses and ineffective coping? How do you react when you're in these weaknesses? And do you hurt others? This can be consciously or unconsciously when you're ineffectively coping with a situation. Are you just hurting yourself? Number 5 is our sales, and this is our strengths, resources, and effective coping. What are your strengths? And if you're struggling to see, and we do all have strengths, just list down the things that you are good at, what you can do. And what are and who are your resources? And what are your effective coping strategies? So number 6 is our compass. This is sorry, I'm losing my teeth today. Internal feedback, feelings, emotions, and your intuitions. So what is your internal feedback telling you? Are they positive feelings and emotions? If so, what are they? Or are they negative feelings and emotions? If so, what are they? Are these feelings and emotions holding you back? Do you feel you keep coming back to them no matter which way you go? So number 7 is the weather. This is uncontrollable circumstances. Look at your life and see if there is something that you are trying to control that is an uncontrollable circumstance. Write this down. This can be hard to look at and deal with when we're in our fear and any of our emotions, our compass, and not actually dealing with our weaknesses, our leaks. So if this is one of them that you're struggling with, we're going to talk about this. And these are the other areas you need to be working on. And then we have other boats, which is other people, peers, and family. I want you to list the people around you, all the people, your family, your friends, work colleagues, therapists, anyone that's around in your life. And when you finish that list, I want you to break it down and split it up. And I want to put the people into different categories. I want you to put them into positive support and negative and draining people. And really look at it and think about it. Even though they're people you really like being with because they're telling you the right things, like when you're moaning and they're moaning with you. But are they actually helping you or are they draining you? You also can get people that just are very draining. They take a lot from you more than giving back. We call them energy vampires. List them, break the list up. If you struggle with others and feeling that you don't actually have anyone supporting you, look closely at some of the people that are around. Because one person can't do everything. So when we start looking at each of them individually, and then what I want you to do is this from the positive list, is start writing out what they give to you. Because I know in the past I've wanted to have one person that's going to give me everything. You know, sometimes I was looking at a partner and I wanted everything from them. That doesn't actually work, because not one person can achieve all that. You know, you might have a friend that's like really good and a listener, and you're there for you, and you know, you can go to them with all your problems and everything. You then might have another friend that you go out with and you socialize with more, and, you know, have a drink or a meal with, and it's all very different. You then have people at work that are really supportive for you. And then you might have a therapist that you like really share everything with. So you can then have snippets of different types of people that are brilliant at one thing and maybe not so good at something else. But when you actually put them all together, you have your full, complete support. So this is why this exercise is really good. So take your positive people and list all the good things that they give you. And then that helps you actually realize how much you have around you. So when you're ever feeling lonely and you don't have support, you can actually realize what is there for you. So what I want you to do, you've answered all the questions. So you've now broke everything down. And if you've been really, really honest, you're going to be able to see your strengths, your weaknesses. You know, you're figuring out your goals and your wishes. You're finding your values. So then you can put the goals towards that and get the destination, because you can really find your true value. You need all the elements of the boat to influence the way we perceive and interact with the environment. If we get stuck in one or more of the elements, we get stuck in life, we get stuck in our emotions. So if somebody's in their fear, in their leak, in their weakness, or in their fear with their compass, we might not move forward because we're in fear. So we're not going to go and get our destiny. So we are stuck within that moment. It's one element is pulling the other element back. If we got fear that we can't move forward because we can't let go of everyone around us, we're not going to grow forward either, because that's pulling us back. And then that actually is one of our weaknesses. It's seeing that you're not strong enough to be able to cope on your own and still have friends from a distance. If you're just focusing on your strengths and not your weaknesses, the sail is being pushed by the wind and you're going forward, but there's a leak going on behind. So you actually still need to fix that, because then when things don't go right, you crash really quickly. So you can then be one of those people that are like high, really up and strong, and then the next minute they're dropping. So you're up and down. And that's because then you're just covering up with the strengths and not focusing on the weaknesses. If you're somebody that's really trying to control everything, and that is out of fear, And then when they're in that fear and they can't get control, they get quite angry. We've then got 7, 6, and 4 all fighting towards each other. But if we can then recognize our weaknesses, see where they're coming from the emotions, and work on them, we will maybe not need to control so much, because we're trying to control to cover up our fears. Or we're trying to control because we're unhappy with our environment. But if you look at your environment and see what you need to change, and then move forward with that, with your values and your goals, you won't need to control everything, and you'll be able to take things in your stride a bit more. I'm not saying it becomes really, really easy, but just by looking at all the elements and seeing the things that are not working for us anymore. And they might have worked years ago and got us where we are now. You know, being strong and just keep plowing through might have got us to where we needed to get to. But it may be now causing a bit of trouble. Living in fear may got us through some traumatic times and guide us through everything. But do we need to still be in that fear now? It doesn't change who you are. It's brought you to where you are, and now you're accepting it and understanding it and saying it's ready to let go of that. Sometimes we haven't got any of this imbalance because we don't know our true values. Value of how we are to others and what we truly believe. And we don't really know who we want to be. And when we look at that, you can spend quite a lot of time on this section. You then know how you want to grow, and you'll become more confident because you're then you're just confident in who you are and what you're doing. Then it's easier to set the goals because you know where the destination is. It's easier to then understand what type of people you want around you. Yes, it's a bit traumatic when you're having to let go of some of the others, or they're struggling with your change. But for you to be the true you, they either come with you or they don't. And in this path, we will constantly be looking at our weaknesses and encouraging our strengths, and taking time to look at our emotions and our feelings and our internal feedback, because sometimes our intuitions are telling us this is right, this is wrong. And then when that happens, the uncontrollable circumstances just become easier, and you can then ride the wave. And then you're going to be happy with your whole environment. Because others around can really disrupt your environment. If you've got a lot of negative people around us, that really then disrupts your reality and your environment, and you want to escape from it. But by realizing how negative some people are to you and then shifting slightly, you don't need to escape from your life anymore, because you're creating your life to be how you want it. So when we're aware and work on all the elements, life flows with ease. It isn't perfect, but we can cope with it much better. Thank you for joining me for part 2, and I hope you're getting a lot out of this. Please put anything up in the membership group if you want to ask any questions, Or if you'd like to just have a chat with me privately, just give me a message and we can work your way through this and just sort of really help you with anything you're getting stuck with. I hope you get a lot out of it. Take care. Bye.